I want you to get together.
Sandra sent me an email and she says, "Hi Paul, hugs. My daughter is 22. She is into all the trends, which later you or Brian from Demon Erasers will talk about." That's true. I often find it funny in an odd way that my daughter speaks of, watches, owns said hot trend item / movie, whatever it is I talk about. Eventually she's got it. Yeah, fair enough. The up and coming is a nice demon named Labubu. It's a Japanese thing. Plushies are all the rage already. I'm including a picture of them. Sandra. Straight to the point. I appreciate the email, Sandra. I'll show the images myself of Labubu, shall I? And if you haven't heard of this is an extremely popular thing that kind of was maybe about a month ago. It was kind of at its peak of extreme popularity, and maybe the hype is tapering off a bit now. And this is how I like to do things here. I talk about things way after the fact because I think you get a better perspective. And yes, the link that's primarily gets made is that Pazuzu is Labubu, and this has actually become a meme in its own right. So let's just get up the Wikipedia page and read this, because it has give like a relatively decent summary of what it is. Labubu wiki. Okay. Because it did bring up the conspiracy aspect. So Labubu is a plush toy created by an illustrator from Hong Kong who lived in the Netherlands, and he incorporated basically Nordic mythology with kind of Asian iconography, and came up with this thing, this Labubu. And it never really explains thoroughly what exactly inspired him from Nordic folklore, but I have my theories and ideas I think we'll get into a second. But basically this got ridiculous, and billions have been made from selling this thing now in Pop Mart. And because a couple of famous people, like a K-pop group Blackpink, started wearing them, and then I think Rihanna and Cher was even seen using them as like an accessory on their handbags. It just became the thing everybody has to get now, you know. And the the shallow idol worshipping lost souls, as I mentioned earlier, really lap this kind of stuff up when it happens, because this is how they fit in, show their allegiance, and this is what their identity is based upon, being accepted by the group. So this is how they show that they are part of the group to gain that personality that they lack, you know. And this is what they do. This is how they do it, and this is everywhere. Even like a standing Nottingham just selling them. You know what I mean? And plushies made of the same image as well, and all sorts of just crap, you know, just absolute tats getting created to try and sell this stuff. I've seen them in my own corner shop now. It's getting ridiculous, and the demand is so high, it's crashed the websites. The queues have been overflowing. People have been fighting each other for them. It's just been getting absolutely silly. And in Thailand, they made amulets out of its image because they believe it can bring good luck, like a Buddhist amulet. In Singapore, it's got huge promotion there as well. It's all over adverts. It's involved in festivals now. There's like a temple dedicated to it at a festival. It's been banned in Russia, and it's also been banned in Iraq because they said it could influence children's behaviors and attract demonic spirits. And they look at this. However, no scientific evidence was provided to support these claims. They're going to throw that in there, it's made me laugh. And yeah, demonic conspiracy theories. Labubu has been associated with conspiracy theories like the ancient Mesopotamian demon Pazuzu, and there's an image of Pazuzu, and they're saying this is Labubu is Pazuzu. Due to its sharp-toothed grin and eerie aesthetic, these theories gained popularity on platforms like TikTok and Reddit, with some users claiming supernatural experiences and even destroying their dolls in public. Pakistani actress Mishi Khan also voiced concern, warning that the dolls may attract negative spiritual energies or jinn. Designers and cultural analysts, however, have dismissed these claims, stating that the character draws from European folklore and does not contain occult symbolism. Now, whatever, that being said, that's the backstory, if you didn't know already, over these ridiculous-looking, tacky-looking things. This is what the big deal's been made about these dolls. Anyway, how does this relate to my work in some way? Well, primarily it's saying this is based on European folklore. And from the image, I can already kind of loosely tell what they were talking about. And they were talking about the wild man of Europe. I think that's what he was basing it on. And I'm not just saying that. Let me just get a wild man of Europe images up. And you'll see it becomes pretty apparent that's likely what they were basing it on. Because they do have a face without hair and a body covered in hair look about them more often than not. So if I just share the screen with you, you'll see what I'm talking about. I don't have to just tell you, I can just show you. Screen share. So this is likely what Labubu is based on. So this one down here, for example, the face is clear, but the body's covered in hair and animalistic in some way. The face is clear, body's covered in hair, clear face, hairy body. Clear face, covered in hair. Another example here. Clear face, covered in hair from the rituals where they venerate these things in the modern day. Here it is, animalistic. Clear face, covered in hair. I'd say that's Labubu. Okay, so if you can't get the image there, that is likely inspired by this. So the Wild Man of Europe, if you read my book, you'll know, is actually a very, very prominent depiction of European Nephilim. More modern day European Nephilim, perhaps descendants of Nephilim. Bigfoot is another example of this. But a lot of these modern day festivals, like the Kukuri in Bulgaria, really focus on this one in particular. So this is your Labubu right here. Okay, this is where they got it from. They dress like this in their festivals to venerate the wild man of Europe, an ancient primordial spirit of winter, which they dress like to ward away in order to bring in a good harvest, basically. And if you look at the stories of this, it's a giant who wields a club, who wanders through the forests of Europe, who has a band of merry demons that follow him, which is usually deformed humans who have an animal-like nature to them. But the wild man is like the leader. And if you also know my research as well, Harlequin, the first proto-clown, was actually based upon the wild man of Europe who wielded his club. It's the same creature that's supposed to represent the tufts of hair, as you saw in one of those statues earlier. And this was the first proto-clown introduced into the theatres of the Middle Ages, the late Middle Ages, coming out of it into the Enlightenment. And this is what he originally looked like. He was the wild man. That's who he's supposed to be. So Labubu has its links to the wild man, which is another variation of the Harlequin. So Labubu is quite literally a representation of the Nephilim in a very cutesy, minimalized, huge artistic liberty taken way. Okay, that's what it really is. It hatches nothing very little to do with the Pazuzu, the Mesopotamian god, which I think has been used as like a point of ridicule against anybody who would question the narrative. But it has the wide mouth like a clown and the toothy grin, the button nose, which you could easily do red, the hairy wild body and the deformation, making it like a rabbit creature of some kind, which I think could be a harkening back, the rabbit ears, to the humans who manipulated their own DNA in the book of Jasher with the mixing of kinds, where mankind manipulated themselves and mixed themselves with animals, which may be another reason how a lot of these wild men creatures were created too. But the original stories of the wild man, before they were kind of mythologized and turned into a symbol of festival like this, the original images of these things or descriptions are extremely giant, wild-haired, colourful-looking, crazy monster giants with clubs, you know. So I think they were closer to European Nephilim. Here's some examples of them on tapestries. She has like bright red hair, grey hair, blue hair, pale white skin features. These were the giant wild men of Europe, you know. But they've kind of been remembered and mythologized. But I think when they were actually around, they were probably a lot more monstrous looking, a lot more colourful. And those who dress like them today at these festivals, they often go this way for this reason. Because this is basically what they would have actually looked like. Because the Nephilim did indeed look like clowns in their original form, you know, and then later iterations and descendants of them started to look more human, but maintained quite a hairy visage, as you can see here. So, yeah, interesting. So Pazuzu is an interesting one. And it's not the first time we've seen the popularization of a demonic wild man image. Huggy Wuggy is one from a video game called Poppy Playtime, which was popular maybe like quite a while ago now. But you have this monster that follows you, this creature here, while you're exploring a toy factory, basically. And this is like one of the things that stalks you regularly in the game. And it's an experiment that gone wrong. It's been mixed with a human in some way, or like a human's brain is in there and it's gone wild and mad. And it basically tries to kill you and eat you, or protect the place from intruders in some way. And then this thing got highly popularized and turned into a plush toy. And now it's everywhere. It's in all sorts of places. It's in places being sold to kids. And even now you still see them, but they were everywhere once upon a time. Huggy Wuggy, plush. Yeah, let's just put that in, plushie. And yeah, they were honestly being sold anywhere and everywhere, with every iteration and theme you could imagine. Knockoffs galore, the originals and all sorts of things in supermarkets, in like stalls in markets as well. Just so many variations of Huggy Wuggy were everywhere. And Labubu is just the new one. It's just the next one. It's just, now it's this instead of this. Like, it's not new. Just like they always have to popularize the clown in media every few years to revivify it in the psyche of the collective conscious and make them all start obsessing over clowns a little bit more, or a new Joker to keep that connection to the demon realm, there, and keep that channel to the Nephilim who look like clowns there. They do the same thing with plushies, it seems. They popularize something amongst children that harkens back to the wild man, to the Nephilim, to the spirits and the disembodied spirits with the clown features, so the kids always have an icon attached to them that creates a channel to the demonic realm in some way. It's really pernicious, it's really evil, and they always come for the kids in that way. I think it's just the same thing. I think it's just exactly the same thing, to be honest. I think that's what's going on there. So there's my take on Labubu, Pazuzu, Huggy Wuggy, plushy toys that represent the wild man or the demonic. It's the same old tactic, just that's going to get recycled. Guarantee in 5 years' time, it'll be something else. There'll be another similar thing, and I bet it all is connected to the exact same thing. Guarantee it. I mean, the thing about Huggy Wuggy is this one's really terrifying. If I can get the image up here, Raksha mask. It really looks like a Rakshasa demon of India, a specific masks that they wear. It's like they took the direct inspiration from the Indian flavor of human dragon hybrids in particular. And I made this connection. This is what I thought Huggy Wuggy was inspired by. Now, they never admit this. They say it was I think they say it was inspired by Cabbage Patch Dolls. Right, I think Huggy Wuggy was more likely inspired by this thing, the Rakshasa masks of Sri Lanka in specific. I think Huggy Wuggy harkens a lot more closer to this image. Let me just move that up. I think that and that are a lot closer to each other, if you get what I mean. I think that's really what they were doing here, but they'll never tell you that. But these icons are on the walls of all sorts of people around the world who just think it's something fun, collectors of strange oceanic artworks, and Indian iconography artwork. When really what they're doing is they're putting a representation of a Nephilim on the wall, a human dragon hybrid. The seraphim angels who mated and mixed themselves with human women created these things. This is what they created. Okay, these are the Nephilim, and Huggy Wuggy is like a mixed version of the hairy European versions of the same thing. I think that's where they get their inspiration from. That's just my theory. That's my take. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting take. So that's kind of my working theory on it there. If you didn't know.
In a world where 54% of Americans read below a 6th grade level.
Could you read this?
It's impossible. I just see his words everywhere.
One man wrote a book about the hidden truth behind clowns.
I finally finished it. Everything's going to be okay now. Links down below to the Amazon.
But he was about to find out.
Your primary market is the USA, and it ranks 36th in global literacy rates, with over 43 million adults unable to read or write.
Getting the truth to people is no day at the circus.
You know, sometimes I wonder if I'm the real clown.
Nobody reads anymore.
Have you considered recording an audiobook?
You're going to get a sore throat.
You're serious about this, aren't you?
You don't understand, I have to do this. The people have to know.
That book will ruin everything.
I will not use AI to record this!
We can't let him reach them.
This is just something I need to do. I don't even like clowns. The end.
Now they can hide that they're completely illiterate. This is amazing.
This season, playing on rectangular devices with black screens near you. The Nephilim looked like clowns. The audiobook.
I want you to get together.